Hey, Liberty North, AP Psych. Good morning. It is Wednesday. What day is this? This is Wednesday. No, this is Thursday. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest. I think it's Thursday. I need to get my phone. See here. Yeah, today is Thursday, April 2nd. So that's the coronavirus effect right there. I really didn't know what day it was of the week. So yeah, so just a reminder before we get started today again, journal critique and chapter 4 stuff is due by Friday. If you need a little bit more time till Monday, that would be fine. If you just need to filter in throughout the weekend, that's okay. For those of you who don't know, and again, if I'm a part of this, just let me know. But we've had we had a department meeting this week, and again, we're still getting advice and feedback from families and parents that we're given too much work. And that overwhelmed. So, if that's the case, if I'm contributing to that, obviously I want to know, and definitely don't want to, there's a balance there between this being an AP class and, you guys are still getting dual credit for it. We're still taking the AP test. Also, for those of you who are not doing either, again, I still want to give you a college level knowledge base of psychology so that you can go on and be successful in any other college class you take in the future. So at the same time, I do not want to bombard you with busy work. So kind of just stuck with the things that we are normally doing and that we have been doing. So I know after the journal critique, things will go back to normal. But again, if I need to cut something out, I will. So let me know on that, if you will. Okay. All right. So with that, get out chapter 15 lab. We're going to do personality test number 4. And actually, I've been switching the order on the lab as we cover information. So today we're actually going to do humanistic theory. That's kind of the next big one in the chapter. So I'm going to give you a humanistic test today. And I'll give the thematic apperception, the TAT, and the ink blot kind of later. They're all perception tests because it's pretty amazing how accurate it can be. So I have to show you a TAT picture. So they release certain pictures, basically. Same with the ink blot, but you can get the TAT online. So I'm trying to figure out a way to find an old picture from the actual TAT test to be able to show you. So I might just get it on an iPad and show it up the screen and have you look at it. You're supposed to look at it for about 2 or 3 minutes and write about it. So we'll find a way to get that done because and I usually show the same picture every year. So it's pretty fascinating. So this one is going to be a humanistic test. So if you want to title this one humanistic rating test, is probably the best thing. And this is an actual personality test, but also a therapy technique used in humanistic psychology. Rogers is really famous for using it, and so did Maslow. Okay, so humanistic rating test. There's going to be 2 parts to this one. The first, then on the first set of, just title it strengths. And then on the second set of 5, title that weaknesses. Okay. And then, and these are both timed because they want this, that's part of the test. You'll see here in a minute. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write down 5 strengths of your current personality and 5 weaknesses of your current personality. Okay. So you can work on both lists at the same time. You can work on one, then go to the other, but you got about 2 minutes to get done. So write down as many strengths and as many weaknesses as you can. If you can go more than 5, then keep going. That's actually a pretty good sign. Okay. All right. And go. I have that question quite a bit. Can a trait be a strength and a weakness? And the answer is yes. Of course, it's your analysis, but definitely, I think you could see that. Okay, got 30 seconds. So again, those of you who are just joining, we've got 2 lists of 5 going. The first list is your strengths, and the second list is your weaknesses. And you have 2 minutes to write down personality strengths and personality weaknesses. We're taking this is called the Humanistic Rating Test. Okay. Okay, so stop. So again, part 1 is 5 strengths, 5 weaknesses of your personality. Okay. And then on part 2, you also need 2 lists. The first list is going to be describing your personality now. Okay, so if you just want to write down my personality or what you would like your future personality to be, or traits that you would like to have in the future. Okay, so you're going to have 2 lists going here, and you're going to have a minute here. So you got 2 minutes for the first one, a minute for this one. And so you're just going to write, you don't need to number it, you're just going to write down as many as you can get. So write down as many personality descriptors as you can give for yourself as you can think of in a minute, and then also write down in the future, what are personality traits that you hope to have developed by then. Okay, so it's kind of like what my personality is, and then what I hope it to be in the future. Okay, you got 1 minute. Ready and go. Okay, and stop. Okay, so and this is also a good test that you can give other people, and it's time, because it can be again, we're measuring actually your self-concept, and then do I know my strengths and my weaknesses in my personality. Now, it's very fascinating. If we were in class, we'd probably have a really great discussion, because I'd have you raise your hand if which list was easier. And several of you, the strengths list is easier, but several of you also, the weaknesses list is easier. It's amazing how we have probably just about half and half of the class split up about which list is easier. So again, that also shows you which part of your personality that you kind of focus on. Do I focus on what are my strengths, or what are my weaknesses? And I think in society today, we can kind of get caught up in what are my weaknesses. And also self-concepts like that can lead to more negative, being able to see both sides and do it quickly, and have things kind of pop up. And then some of you were just, both lists was easy, which again would identify, if both lists were easy and you kept going past 5, that's going to indicate a pretty healthy self-efficacy view of yourself. Okay. The second list is actually my self-concept. Okay. So how well do I know myself? How well, which is, again, both of these are a part of that, but self-concept, again, who am I now? And then who do I want to be? Who do I hope to be in the future? Okay. Now, you need to look at both those lists. And this, a kind of version of this test is actually on, but if there's a massive gap between those 2 lists, meaning that you have a long way to go to the second list, then your self-concept is still developing. Okay. Or if you don't even know, if you didn't even have a long second list, then your self-concept is still developing, which it should be. And according to Rogers and Maslow and developmental psychologists, your personality is developing. Again, I think all of you were to answer, is your personality now going to be the same that it is when you graduate from college? The answer is going to be no. Okay, so again, you are developing all of this. Okay, so again, you're not supposed to have a solid self-concept or self-efficacy at this point, because you're still developing your personality. And some people think that our personality develops forever. So we're constantly working on those two. But the idea, again, self-concept is, do I know who I am? Do I know who I want to be? As you know, what am I striving for in my personality? And then self-efficacy is, do I truly have an accurate picture of my strengths and my weaknesses, the good and the bad? You know, I need to know them both. I don't need to just focus on the bad, and I don't need to just focus on the good. I need to know them both for my personality to develop in a healthy manner. Okay, so most humanistic tests are going to be some type of listing, some type of rating. I have another one that's actually a humanistic trait test that I can give you. Works a lot better when there's a board, but I could do it with this. And if we have time, I might add that one in there. Again, all of the tests center on these two concepts pretty much. Is basically, you know, do you have a self-concept? Do you have self-efficacy? And then, of course, those equal self-actualization and self-growth. So again, when we get back and we're going to start humanistic theory today, again, it's all about, you know, and that's pages 609 to 612. And it's all about, again, humanistic is all about achieving self-actualization, fulfilling our unique potential, growing, okay, developing continually in a positive way. So moving up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, moving from basic needs, physiological needs, all the way to self-actualization, which is a long journey, and it's a journey that never stops. Because again, once I achieve self-actualization, the goal is to maintain it, which is a whole nother journey. So we're all on this journey. Again, Maslow said they were needs. These are drives. So we're driven. So we have a drive in us that pushes us towards self-actualization, self-actualizing tendency, I think is what it was called. So it's biological. So this is still kind of a nature's personality, if you buy that it is a drive. Self-actualizing tendency is a drive that we have. Okay. So humanistic theory, which is page 609 to page 612, a little bit shorter today in the notes because it's pretty simple, not as complex as the psychoanalytic or psychodynamic theory. Okay. But basically, I developed my personality traits in this journey towards self-actualization and self-growth. So again, I am developing traits that hopefully help me self-actualize. And that's the journey, to keep those traits that help me self-actualize, to reach that person that I hope that I will be, and then to kind of shed off or not display as much as the personality traits that kind of get in my way and prevent that. Now, the first knack on humanistic to help me continue to grow and reach self-actualization. But if you really look at the theory and you know and understand the theory, you know that that's actually not true for me. So the goal is to just make sure that you actualize the traits that help you reach self-actualization. And that doesn't mean that you take away the bad traits. That means that they're there, but you have a clear understanding of your strengths and weaknesses and a clear understanding of who you are. And that you're going to actualize the traits that help you continue to grow and reach self-actualization. So those help you grow and develop as a person. So, you know, impatience is a really good one. You know, there are times in which that's obviously a negative trait, but there are also times in which, you know, for the people who need to move into action, who don't have time to deliberate, to think about things and just move in to action, you know, our first responders, military, you know, that's kind of what, yeah, sorry if the streaming's struggling. It seems like there's one day a week in which it always is. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday generally. So you know, the impatience can come in handy. So again, we all have id traits. So just make sure that you understand that, you know, traits are coming as we're just developing this self-concept, self-efficacy, as we're trying to obtain self-actualization. Okay. If you go back, which is the case of Carol, you know, Carol was in therapy and she was struggling. Life was just beating her up, you know, and she was kind of moving away from self-actualization and kind of had lost contact. And that's what the therapist was trying to do by giving her assignments to do. And then getting her turned back around does not change the good and the bad necessarily, but it changes what traits she's actually focusing on. Okay. So it's kind of like, you know, when you have a situation that could be good or bad, depending on how you look at it. It can be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you look at it. So same thing with humanistic theory. You know, I'm developing my personality as I grow and try to reach and develop self-actualization. And as I'm developing my identity, who I am, the concept of self, but also then what are my strengths and weaknesses, okay? So I wanna make sure, basically, and that's a pretty simple concept, but just also wanna make sure that you understand that, that my family, my type of temperament, addictive type personalities, we believe are very biological as well. I mean, that's not, that can lead to a whole host of problems if you're self-actualizing that personality trait instead of, control, trying to think of it, personality traits, keeping things in small segments, that type of thing. So that's humanistic. Okay. Now, so make sure you know Maslow and Rogers. So again, there are humanistic guys from chapter 1. You should have them already in your AP notebook as being, I come from the school that says Rogers was the father of humanistic psychology, but I think Maslow was. Either way, they kind of have it's probably the most prescribed to personality theory after psychoanalytic and psychodynamics. So the book spends the next amount of time with humanistic theory, and it's several pages. So I think definitely one we all would agree with. Okay. And then just understand the concept of peak experiences, which are experiences that we have in life that just transcend understanding, and kind of those aha moments. I think this is definitely one. I think everybody in the world is having a peak experience with coronavirus. It's a very impactful, history-changing, surreal experience. And once going through this experience is going to change us, and then on the other side of it, we're going to be changed as well. We're going to be impacted. High school graduation is a peak experience. You're going to learn from it. It has transcended who you are. It has become part of your self-concept, your self-efficacy, and it's actually very important as you move and grow towards self-actualization. So, a lot of times we can see massive personality changes after or during these peak experiences. They they make us reflect. They make us take a look at who we are and what we have as strengths and weaknesses, and if something needs to be changed or added. So just also know the concept of peak experiences, because when you look at humanistic theory, they talk about them a lot. Getting married is a peak experience. Graduating from college is a peak experience. Learning to drive is a peak experience because it comes with responsibility. It's just there's those events. And then several of you have been through trials. You've been through illnesses, or you've lost loved ones. Relationships can be peak experiences as well. But there are events when you look back on your life, you definitely learned from those. And you learned information about your concept, about your efficacy, and then also about, your personality there. So peak experience help us develop as a whole to reach self-actualization, but also we can see massive changes in our personality marked by those peak experiences. Okay. All right. So that's humanistic theory. And then the last one, which is really quick today, which the book does not include, it kind of includes it with the social learning theory, but behavioristic theory as well. There's not much in the book about it because I think, about behaviorism there is, but about personality theory there's not, because it's just very simple. So again, our personality comes from our environment, comes from our nurture. Okay, so from our experiences, we are shaped, we are conditioned to have personality traits. Okay, and you can definitely see a cultural element here. So, there are traits that society, definitely school definitely reinforces and conditions you to have certain traits. In other words, you're more successful. It's easier if you're organized, if you're a planner, that type of thing. And it definitely kind of punishes as we continually model that. That's the goal. But, that can be impacted by society, by trends in education, policies, political aspirations or political views, and so on and so forth. Okay. So obviously everyone mentioned the environment, right? You're going to mention the nurture side of it, and that I do get traits from my home environment, my school environment, my work environment. I do get personality traits based on conditioning, reward and punishment, association, okay, the environment, right? Which is big. Okay. And so I don't want to, belittle that at all. And just because the book doesn't really cover it doesn't mean it's not important. So again, know Skinner and Watson. Watson's the father, okay, in classical conditioning. And then Skinner is the most influential psychologist of all time and is the operant conditioning guru. Okay. So, we've talked a lot about Skinner. Skinner says, the environment and conditioning can affect your language development, your cognitive development, personality development. Okay. So, Skinner's going to say, yeah, your personality continues to grow because your environments continue to grow and they continue to expand, and yeah, these are peak experiences because your environment changes. Okay. So that's kind of where that would go. And that's basically it for today. So, again, so we've done personality test number 4, humanistic rating test. If you missed that, or if the stream's really struggling today, I apologize. I know also YouTube is redoing their whole platform for studio, so that might have something to do with it as well. And then, remember the deadline for Friday, and then we'll keep going. And again, I will circle back around and we'll do the TAT and the inkblot tests. They're fun tests, and I'll give you some experience with those. But today was just the rating test. So you've got your 2 lists and more for self-reflection there and where your personality is personally. Okay. So humanistic theory today and behavioristic theory today. So we're still on learning targets 2 and 3. Define and describe the theories, and then also the key people, which are 2 and 3. So, okay. Hold on. Question. Ali Hillman. You don't stream on Fridays, correct? Right. Correct. I do not stream on Fridays. So Fridays are just a work day. Obviously, I keep the same office hours. So if you need to contact me or whatever, I'll still be in the office. Just time to work on stuff, whatever. And again, if anybody has any feedback on the amount of work that we do or that I'm giving you, if it's overwhelming, if it seems like busy work, then just let me know. Hopefully that's not the case. That's not the intention. So add these 2 theories in there. And then we've got 2 more. We've got trait theory, and then we've got social learning, which is basically cognitive behavioral. So we'll get them all in perspective. Again, social cultural is here. Okay. Culture does impact my personality. It's part of, okay. Any other question, Ali? Dawson, I hope it got better for you. Are we good? And I think definitely in this class, you're going to see a slowdown after you get that journal critique done. I know some of you, that adds obviously an extra assignment, but hopefully you're getting that done. Okay. All right. Thanks, Ali. All right. If you guys need anything, again, contact me at any time, email, we can chat, FaceTime, or whatever you need. But yeah, miss you guys, and hang in there. I know it's not going to be a sunny day today, so hang in there, and then have a good weekend. And I'll be back on Monday as we continue with the trait theory, and we'll do some further personality tests. Okay, take care.